Leslie Lopez has been tracking the weather, and the wind is just not allowing that to happen.
Right. We were talking to Scott Reif, and he really put it into perspective. Some of these aircraft can't even go up at 50 miles per hour, including those helicopters. They're just not allowed to even turn on their blades. So again, they're grounded. There are some aircraft that can go up and fly around with 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts. However, it would be futile. They're going to try to do some water drops or retardant drops. It's not going to go in the intended location because of how strong the winds are, and it just becomes a situation that it would be safer if they just stayed on the ground. So they are right now grounded. So when can they go up? There will be an opportunity potentially today, right around noon, for that to transpire because some wind velocities will be going down. And the reason being, we just need to get a little bit of heating out towards our deserts. The cold desert air that is right now happening because of the cold overnight hours really are enhancing the wind speed for us here this morning. So we wait for that daytime heating to happen, and then we're expecting to see the opportunity, at least maybe perhaps the first opportunity for the aircraft to go up right around noon. And if not noon, then at 6 o'clock, we'll have a really large drop off in terms of wind speeds for the entire area. We're talking about, unfortunately, a drought situation here in Southern California. There are several conditions fueling these fires that are burning through Southern California. We do have high pressure and low pressure Santa Ana winds that are created by those two components that are colliding right over Southern California, kind of sandwiched between Southern California. But we've had no rain in Southern California, unfortunately. Now, this has been going on for months, 8 months of no rainfall here in Southern California. And since September, I just wanted to give you some rainfall totals. We've been down to 100 of an inch of rainfall in Southern California, 0 in Palm Springs. Santa Barbara, just a little north of us, they've only gotten a little more than half an inch, a huge departure from most areas. So unfortunately, our fuel moisture content is so parched and dry that if we do have a fire breakout, I mean, the ignition, the accelerants, how ignitable it is, I mean, it's just very high at this point in the season. We are also wanting to inform a lot of you. I know most of us, and I think, you know, it makes a lot of sense, but most of us, we associate our Santa Anas between September, October, November because it's dry, because it's hot, and it's windy, and that's kind of how we remember Santa Ana as the heat, the warmth. However, we do have cold Santa Anas, and some of the strongest winds that we receive out of Santa Anas do happen in the cold months. So December and January really are the 2 months that are Santa Ana's peak. So this is not unusual to see Santa Ana this strong in January. In fact, if we were going to receive a Santa Ana that is this strong, it would likely be in December and January, which we do see. And that continues through February and March before we get to see the spring months return, and then the opportunity for Santa Anas go way down. Now, high pressure is dominating here. We have high pressure. We need high pressure. We also need low pressure in this particular instance to get the northerly winds that Pasadena is experiencing. But high pressure usually is the big contributing factor towards our Santa Ana winds. So through the canyons and passes, they come through, they get funneled, they tighten, they squeeze through those passes. There's a lot of pressure gradients adding the force to the winds that are already coming through the canyons and passes. And so this becomes a ferocious Santa Ana for Southern California, and one that will go down in history, unfortunately. That's the LAX camera. You can see it was very hazy. This camera right here, this is over into areas of Burbank. You're seeing off into the distance. There's some smoke there. And red flag warnings, unfortunately, have to continue all the way through Thursday because even though the high wind warning will expire at 6 today, we have very dry weather. We still have some wind around, so we'll have wind advisory winds versus high wind warning winds, which is a lower downgrade really. We're talking about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in this gold color, this tan color, which will probably encompass the rest of Southern California after 6 p.m. today. We're talking about 35, 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so there will be a large drop-off in the wind speed here later on today. Now, some of the wind gusts that are happening at the ridge tops, 85 miles per hour, that'll be cut in half later on this afternoon. So there is some good news for the afternoon forecast, even though we know that high wind warning won't expire till 6. We also have that Silmar fire burning. Again, most of those winds will be coming down here in the next few hours. Unfortunately, I wish it was sooner, but we're around 7 o'clock and we have a few more hours to go. Now, 20, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts happening over into areas of the Pasadena fire, and then 80, I have 80 down here. I just want to point out 80 at the tops of the mountains. This is high elevation. Right where the fire is burning, we're consistently seeing 45, 50, 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Let me just show you the winds right now. I restarted the computer because I was just concerned that things weren't moving in the right direction here this morning. So there is a little bit of a wind speed drop, and we've been seeing that from our reporters and their cameras. 43-mile-per-hour winds still, though, out towards Malibu. That hasn't changed much. You're looking at 37. That's dropped off some over in Simi Valley. It's dropped off about 10 miles per hour right now in Pasadena. So right now gusts are about 46 miles per hour. 43 in San Bernardino. That's dropped off about 10 miles per hour, and 31 in Pasadena, that's hanging on. That's still very much the same. And then over into areas of San Clemente, you're still looking about 30-mile-per-hour winds. This is the camera from LAX. I mean, look at how hazy that view is. Awful. If you have any respiratory concerns, if you have any comorbidities, you shouldn't be outdoors. This is really just a cause for concern. The air quality is terrible. Pacific Palisades. Now, the reason why I was saying noon to 1, you do see the wind velocities going down between that period, and then the early afternoon, we do see the winds really get down to about 23-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I think this is a pretty good opportunity for the firefighting effort to go up in the sky, and then hopefully fight from our aerial support. You know, what's interesting too out of this, and you know, we rely so much on our choppers to view what has happened, and I think a lot of us are just holding our breath. We have not seen the devastation yet from the sky, and I think that's going to be quite alarming for a large area here in Southern California. So Altadena, you are looking at some winds potentially dropping off right around 10 to 11. And I think maybe there's that small opportunity that the aircraft can go up then, but we'll let the fire officials make that decision. Low pressure, high pressure. There we are. Southern California sandwiched in between the two. This area of low pressure created such interesting opportunity for some very strong winds for the Pasadena area. We had snow yesterday in our mountains. That cold air created what we call a mountain wave on top of that mountain hillside. That mountain wave needed a crest. Nearby to make that all happen was this area of high pressure, and the subsidence, which is basically the pushing down or sinking of air, offered that opportunity. So, I mean, this is really a perfect storm here in Southern California. So as that cold air was on the top of the mountain producing 80, 100-mile-per-hour winds, high pressure showed up too, pushed it down into the foothills, into the valleys. And here we are today with some of the strongest winds that we record in the Pasadena, San Gabriel Valley area. And it continues forward through most of today, although I think there will be at least some slowing of the wind by noon, and certainly by 6 p.m. that high wind warning will expire. We do have a wind still continuing forward, though, tomorrow night into tomorrow morning. And then I think tomorrow night there will be an uptick in the wind, and then it'll lead us into a windy Friday morning, and then we're done. At least with this one. Unfortunately, the 7-day outlook shows us that we have more Santa Anas in the next 7-day period. The next one that arrives is on Sunday, and this one is going to be a weak Santa Ana. Then we have another on Tuesday, and this one we'll consider a moderate Santa Ana wind event, so it won't be strong to extreme. Right now at the moment, we are under that extreme category. Later today, it'll turn to strong. Tomorrow will remain between moderate to weak. And then thankfully, we're going to get back to at least a break Friday, Saturday, and hopefully firefighters can get a bit more of a handle on the fire. Of course, resources are really, really stretched thin. Valley's Inland Empire, 72, 75 on your Thursday, 77 on your Friday. We have those 60s returning. Again, gusty weather is going to be the factor for us later into the weekend and next week. And I will say that as I'm looking at the long range models, and I'm pulling out 14, 21 days out, I don't see any rain either. So this dry pattern remains. Heading out the door for the beach is 67, overnight lows into the 40s, down to 60 on your Saturday. Heading for the mountains, 49, overnight lows into the teens. Dry and cold air in the mountain communities, and we have some snow in the mountains now. And the deserts, 58, overnight lows into the 20s. And then we have some windy weather continuing on Sunday, and then Tuesday gusting again for the high desert communities.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel, and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.